Welcome to Food Bank of Central New York's Meal Guidelines for Soup Kitchens and Other Prepared Meal Sites presentation. During this presentation, we'll review the mission of Food Bank of Central New York, the mission and a brief overview of the Hunger Prevention and Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as HIPNAP, the HIPNAP meal standards and acceptable serving sizes, and lastly, some commonly confused foods. Leading the effort to eliminate hunger in our region by partnership with others in our community through education, advocacy, and distribution of nutritious food is the mission of Food Bank of Central New York. This mission supports our vision of a community where everyone has access to nutritious food and no one is hungry. HIPNAP is dedicated to improving the health and nutrition status of people needing food assistance in New York State. Through partnership with HIPNAP, supplemental funding and nutrition technical assistance are provided to food banks, emergency food programs such as food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters, as well as to other nonprofit organizations. Funded by state and federal funds from New York State Department of Health, HIPNAP administers annual food and operation support grants which supply supplemental funding to food banks and their HIPNAP-eligible partner agency programs. HIPNAP program meal standards are based off the dietary guidelines for Americans to provide healthy food options which promote fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, low-fat dairy, and whole grains. The meal standards assist households towards meeting current dietary recommendations. There is a guideline for the minimum amount of food to be provided, but programs are encouraged to provide a more generous meal designed to meet MyPlate guidelines. Why have meal standards? Well, for predictability. Guests know what to expect. They know that they can have a balanced meal in each meal that they receive from your program. It maintains inventory at the soup kitchen, so sustainability. It helps to meet required minimum nutritional guidelines. And equality. Every individual receives the same amount and the same meal. To help meet our mission, Food Bank of Central New York applies these standards to all partner food pantries and meal sites. HIPNAP's minimum nutrition standard for meals. Each meal must include 1 serving of fruits and 1 serving of vegetables, or 2 servings of fruit or 2 servings of vegetables, and 1 serving from 2 of the other 3 food groups. This includes dairy, meat, and non-meat proteins and grains. Minimum does not mean that this is the most you can distribute at a meal. It means that this is the minimum amount that can be provided in a meal. We always encourage you to provide more food to guests coming to your programs if possible. Acceptable serving sizes for fruits are a half a cup of fruit or 1 piece of small to medium-sized whole fresh fruit. Acceptable serving sizes for vegetables are a half a cup, 1 cup of cooked greens, or 2 cups of lettuce or other raw greens. Acceptable serving sizes for grains are approximately 1 ounce, a half a cup, or 1 slice of bread. So some examples of whole grains that you could serve with your meals could be 1 ounce of whole wheat crackers, 1 slice of whole wheat bread, a half a cup of cooked brown rice, a half a cup of cooked whole wheat pasta, a half a cup to 1 cup of whole grain cereal, or a half a cup of cooked quinoa. Acceptable serving sizes for meat and non-meat proteins are a half a cup of cooked beans or 2 ounces of lean meat. Some examples would be a half a cup of cooked beans, or 2 ounces of chicken breast, or 2 ounces of lean 90% ground beef. Acceptable serving sizes for milk and dairy are 1 cup of 1% or non-fat milk, 1 ounce of low-fat cheese, or 6 to 8 ounces of low-fat yogurt. For example, you could serve a container of yogurt or a cup of non-fat milk or 1 ounce of low-fat cheese with your meals to meet the milk and dairy requirement. We do encourage and recommend that if you have any children visiting your program, we suggest that you have milk to offer to the children. This slide has some menu ideas for healthy meals. I just want to point out that the Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends that at least half of the 6 servings of grains we eat in a day be whole grains. This incorporates some of those whole grains in the menus that are presented here. One commonly confused item are soups and canned meals. These can only be considered a protein if they have 7 grams of protein or more per serving. For example, if you are utilizing canned soups or canned meals as part of your meal service, you would need to make sure that they have 7 grams of protein per serving to count towards a protein. For example, this nutrition facts label on the right is from a can of chicken noodle soup. If we look at how much protein that's in the one serving, there's only 3 grams of protein. The option would be then to up the protein by serving 1.5 cups of this soup, which would give you 9 grams of protein and meet the protein guidelines, or you would have to add another protein source to your meal. Other commonly confused items are beans, which can be canned or dry. They can be considered a protein and a vegetable, but they can only count for one or the other, not both. Juice, 100% juice, counts as a fruit, but serving 8 ounces of juice is considered 1 serving of fruit. You would need to serve another fruit or a serving of a vegetable. Cranberry sauce cannot be counted as a fruit. This is served as a free item as part of your meals. In summary, HIPNAP provides supplemental funding to food banks, emergency food programs, and other nonprofit organizations. HIPNAP's minimum nutrition standard for meals ensures that individuals accessing emergency food programs or other partner-prepared meal sites receive a fair and consistent nutritious meal. Following HIPNAP's nutrition standard for meals assures that guests are being served at least 2 servings of fruits and/or vegetables and at least 1 serving from 2 of the other food groups. And it is always encouraged, when possible, to provide more food. For more information, you can check out the Food Bank of Central New York's website under the Partner Agency tab, and also www.health.newyork.gov/prevention/nutrition/HIPNAP/. Thank you. Any questions can be directed to Food Bank of Central New York's Community Nutrition Manager at 315-437-1899.